Breaking Bad, episode 514, Ozymandius. We all knew this was going to be a big one, and it certainly was. I think this is probably one of the best episodes in the series, not just because everything kind of falls apart in this episode, but we get to see the core of what Walter White is. We get to see his good side. Like he definitely shows his good side, and I'll get into that, and definitely his evil side. I think above all else, like a lot of people, Walter White is ultimately going to be about self-preservation, which he certainly shows here, but he has his good moments and his bad moments. So we'll get into that, but I think I'm going to try to do it in order of things that happened in the episode. First off, there was Hank, who I thought had a really fitting ending to his character. I really liked how Hank went out. For one, he got that brief moment of happiness in the previous episode where he had caught the bad guy, and he was the heroic cop. But then in this episode, when he knew it was over before Walter did. And I loved his final line to Walter, telling him, how could you be so dumb if you're supposed to be so smart? This guy made his decision 10 minutes ago. And then, unfortunately, Hank got killed. But I thought it was coming. Him and Gomez were going to get killed. As for Jesse, I did not expect anything that happened with Jesse, and it's a damn shame because I like Jesse's character. I've said it a million times. I think he's the only good person on the show. I think he's a better person than Hank or Marie or Skyler or anybody. Maybe not better than Walt Jr. or the baby, but the baby's, a baby. So yeah, they spotted Jesse under the car. Walter not only gave him up to be killed, but to be tortured by Todd and his crew to get information out of him. And what they didn't know is to cook. Or what Walter didn't know that, but on top of it, to add a little more pain to it, Walter told Jesse about Jane, which I don't think anyone saw that coming. I thought that was the one thing. This is the one betrayal that Walter would have been able to keep secret, but instead of keeping it secret, he just let it out there and told Jesse to rub it in. And I think it was because in that moment, Walter viewed Jesse as the reason that Hank died. Even though Walter is at fault for all of this, he viewed it as if Jesse would have just listened to him, if he would have came and met him, everything would be okay. Walter still has this mentality going on. If people would listen to him and do what he says, everything would be okay. And maybe he's right, but the things he's asking people to do are pretty out there. And that's a damn shame about Jesse. I don't like to see him where he is. I remember at one point I predicted that Jesse would be the one who takes out Walter and becomes the kingpin himself. It's gone a different direction. I still would love to see Jesse get out of where he's at, because as it is right now, he is beaten and chained and being forced to cook meth, and probably will get killed by them unless Walter does something, or who knows. But if that's Jesse's ultimate fate, is that he's going to be forced to cook until they're done with him, until they learn how to cook themselves, and then they kill him. That's a damn shame, because he's, in my opinion, the only good character. And that was one of the two big scenes for me. There's two big scenes in this episode. Well, the entire episode was all big scenes, but one of them was when Walter told him about Jane. And yeah, that was just wow. And then you have everything, like Walter trying to clean up and get away, and the aftermath of what happened. it was just an exciting episode from start to finish. And the knife fight, as I'll call it, between Walter and Skylar. Wow. I thought, like, at some point he was going to stab Skylar, or she was going to stab him, although we knew he wouldn't get killed because he's going to be alive at the end, or near the end. Walt Jr. finding out about his dad, I thought that was spot on how Walt Jr. would react. But yeah, then you had Walter scrambling to get away and trying to bring his family along, and Skylar wasn't going with it. It's pretty ingenious how they worked it all out, that, you know, Marie thinks one thing has happened, and the complete opposite has happened. She goes to Skylar. Skylar kind of spills the beans, and then she is forced to tell her kid what's going on. That was all really great. And then, you know, near the end, you have Walter trying to escape. They catch him. They're like, what the fuck's going on? They get in a big battle. He leaves. Which leads to the next scene I thought was very key, and I thought probably one of the best in the whole series. And it's one that I know a couple of my friends have misread. Walter goes out on his own. His family's back at home. They have the cops there. They're wired. They're ready. And Walter calls them. And a lot of people read that as just Walter just going over the edge and becoming full Heisenberg, which there's, I think, an element of that, but what he was doing was pure Walter. It was very calculated. He was trying to protect Skylar and his family from any additional fallout. He was trying to contain the fallout as much as possible. So what he did on that call was a complete act. He was playing Heisenberg one last time, or who knows if it's one last time, but he was playing Heisenberg to protect his family. And I think that was clear by the fact that he was crying. Like, you know, on the phone, his voice sounds very pissed off, and I'm Heisenberg. But he was crying the entire time while he was doing it. He destroyed his phone, so he knew that the cops were listening, even though he asked her at the beginning, are the cops listening? And I think what shows that he had their best interests at heart is he took the baby to a firehouse and left the baby there so that they would get the baby back, Holly. And I thought it was just an incredible scene, probably one of the best in the entire series. But yeah, it was very, very awesome and intense. Now, my question is whether Skylar realizes what he was doing for them when he made that phone call. I highly doubt she realizes it. I think she thinks that he has gone, like, she's seeing his true side, his evil side. But what he was doing, for sure, was a very calculated move to protect his family, which I think is, you know, I don't like Walter as much as Jesse, but I think it was a good thing of him to do. He was trying to do what he could for them at that point when he realized he had lost everything. Now, going forward, where does it go? I would really love... I think we know why Walter gets that machine gun now. I don't know what he needs it for in New Hampshire, but he's going to be in New Hampshire and he gets that machine gun. And I think he's going after them. For the money, for Jesse, for both. I kind of wonder how much interest he has in saving Jesse at this point, but he kind of views Jesse as a son, and Jesse ultimately has not done a lot wrong. in Walt's mind, he probably overreacted to finding out about Brock. But I could see Walter being like, I'll save you. We'll see. I don't know. It's just real bad shit from here on out. There's 2 hours left. And I don't even know what to say anymore. That was just a crazy episode full of tons of shit. And I probably missed some of it, but give me your thoughts, predictions, and holy fuck, 2 more weeks. Enjoy the ride.